SpaceStation Gaming versus ALG is how we're going to finish our afternoon today. My name is Tom, that's going to be Toli, and this is going to be North America. A lot of interesting things have happened over the past couple of weeks, and that's why we are where we're at.
Well, this is week number 4, last set of the week, and this is such an important set. Luminosity split with Trifecta earlier on today. SpaceStation sitting pretty at 10 points with E-United 2 owning Flashpoint. They're sitting at 10 points, and Team Allegiance, they still control their own destiny at 8 points.
Exactly. With the 8 points just in their hands, Team Allegiance obviously need to go ahead and win. That'll put them up at the top with everybody else, and that's how you get to DreamHack.
It's just such an epic battle here in North America. There's 5 teams still possible to clinch those 3 spots. Noble, unfortunately, are out here. Despite having 7 points, he could still tie with SpaceStation Gaming at 10 points, but because SpaceStation has that 2 head-to-head record, they will clinch over them.
Exactly. So it's win or absolutely nothing at all. So ALG, let's head to Picks and Bans right about now, taking on SpaceStation Gaming, the team formerly known as Monkey Madness. I got that one right.
Andinster and friends, as I like to say it, basically. Andinster and Homiefe have been doing such a great job in this split, making the transition to mid lane. I'm really surprised how impressive Andinster has been.
Are you?
A little bit.
Really?
To go from jungler to mid, it's not an easy task.
Not an easy task at all, but at the end of the day, Andy, just one of the more talented players. I just wanted to challenge you, really. You could have said anything in the world. You could have been like, the grass is green. I'd be like, really? You sure?
It's that kind of mood.
Yeah. Robin is going to be the first pick for Team Allegiance. Nemesis and Susano banned out by ALG, so obviously have an eye on the jungle, keeping Homiefe in check. Fafnir will be the selection.
I like this idea here from Team Allegiance. They usually like to go for these aggressive frontliners, whether it's the Ravana, the Osiris, the Bellona, heavily prioritizing that kind of style. But SpaceStation really recognized that that was going to be one option, so they picked the Osiris at least to take that away from CycloneSpin's hands.
Bellona here going to join Ravana with the front line, and then Isis. Nice selection. I really like Isis. I have really enjoyed watching Team Allegiance's mid laner Metyankey work out with these more control-oriented, I would say. Just the not so... I like him on Isis.
It's a very great early game aggressive mid god, and speaking of Allegiance, that's their whole idea and strategy, is just to play aggressive from the very beginning. And what other mage would you want than Isis at level 1?
Agni going to be banned out. That's one of Andy's go-tos lately. We'll see where else ALG want to go. Terra and Gab going to be banned out, so SpaceStation is paying attention to the support role specifically. Camazotz' homies kind of go to, and Hades, well, Andy kind of surprised us with some Hades play as well, so SpaceStation now looking towards Cernunnos, leaving Andy's pick for last.
And Andinster has been playing a fantastic Raw. That's still left on the table. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that SpaceStation go for, considering they have an aggressive front line of Osiris and Camazotz. You add some sustain to that mix, it makes it a lot easier for Homiefe to get in that backline.
Yeah, Rama will be the hunter of choice, and he'll be paired up with Khepri for the long lane, and SpaceStation. One last selection. Very curious. And the mid lane will be the Scylla.
Scylla, okay. Interesting to see a Scylla here for SpaceStation because there's not too much setup on their side of the team. They have the stun from Fafnir, a lot of slows from Osiris, the tether stun, and then a slow from Camazotz, but not that guaranteed. You don't have the Gab, the Athena, the Terra kind of setup. So there's going to be a lot of important clutch execution for SpaceStation to kind of get a lead here.
Yeah, I mean, Scylla has set up by herself with the root crush combo, obviously going into the ultimate. So we'll see if Andy can serve himself or if ALG will just serve him up. Right now, SpaceStation Gaming, their first game under their new banner versus Team Allegiance. Let's go to game 1.
It's interesting to see already Allegiance. Look how aggressive they are on the left-hand side, trying to find a potential invade here against Vetium and Jigz.
Ooh, all 4 of them.
4 of them trying to group up there, but they were spotted. However, the timing of this works out because the minions haven't spawned quite yet. This allows Allegiance to still go to the right side of the map without losing any farm.
Yeah, just sort of a nice lap around. We'll catch you if you catch you. If not, we all just kind of head back to where we're supposed to go. And Metyankey weaken CycloneSpin, head over to the right side of the map. fineokay and Homiefe lurking in the jungle, and they're going to catch CycloneSpin by himself, but they'll walk past.
Not wanting to pull the trigger. I think they were thinking about proxy farming between that tier 1 and tier 2 tower, but andinster, he was down the mid lane, and he spotted all 3 ALG members going underneath that mid harpy, so they didn't want to commit quite yet. And this is what Bellona does really well here. She can sacrifice a little bit of pressure in a 1v2 just to secure those blue little ogres herself.
Yeah, and obviously that will allow her to reach level 2, which allows her to really fight into everybody a little bit better. And look at that, CycloneSpin is able to just, at level 1, really tank the entire wave. That's kind of a big deal.
It's very important for him to be able to not lose any gold under the tower in a 1v2 because fineokay, he is sharing some gold and experience with Homiefe.
That right there. People ask, why do we see Bumba's mask on X position? Andinster right there just healed up from 25% all the way up to full with the killing of the 2 harpies there, the 2 oracles. That's why you see the Bumba's mask. Obviously, you're going to get some extra damage and help out the clear, but it's really about the sustain and less about everything else on the Bumba's mask.
The clear is more important for these hunters that picked up the Bumba's mask. They're trying to rush through the red, rush through the purple just to get back into the lane as quickly as possible, and that's something that more and more duel lanes have been experimenting with. Cernunnos has a great passive to do 25% extra damage if you're sitting in melee range, whereas Ram's is just Ram. Those astral arrows clear so effectively.
So we're basically seeing Bumba's mask being picked up by a multitude of positions for different reasons, which is kind of very, very interesting. The duo lane is very quickly turned into a solo lane in virtually every game except for this one, I suppose. But no, realistically, basically what happens is the supports just have started to come back here into this lane, where once for a while, they just kind of sat in mid lane or they went over to the solo lane.
It's very important for the supports to stay in the duo lane this early in the game, considering they both went for the low-nose mask, really relying on these hunters with the Bumbas to get extra stacks in the jungle, which is why we're going to see a lot of duo lanes, not only North American SPL, but also in Europe, to be able to make these little rotations, trying to min-max the farm, get the stacks, and then maybe look to sell it really quickly just to keep recycling that item.
We could have Metyankey looking for, well, something behind the wall, but SpaceStation gonna get aggressive instead. Metyankey's the target. Aegis will save him for the moment. 1 shot, 2 shots. Homiefe gets the first ult and the first kill of the game. We can try to turn it around, but he won't. Instead, looks towards Scylla, but Andy dashes away. SpaceStation Gaming, first blood.
Nice little route as well from andinster to keep his jungler alive for the moment. Using 2 ultimates there just to confirm the kill on Metyankey. I love the decision. The Aegis doesn't outlast the duration of the Bat Eye of Hell, so it's very easy for Homiefe to stay in the sky. But just for good measure, andinster went into the monster just in case that ultimate didn't last. But getting that first blood here onto Homiefe, now he's going to be able to make these clutch rotations, trying to out-mobilize Weaken here. That's going to be looking for some of these aggressive plays, maybe even towards the solo lane.
CycloneSpin kind of losing this matchup, which I feel like should be expected. The Bellona does well a little bit after the Osiris. The Osiris is just such an early game monster.
Especially without his blue buff. Now, granted, he didn't really need it off the bat, considering how aggressive the rest of his teammates were able to invade because of the 2-man start in mid. But losing some of that experience of the regular blue one kind of hurts you at the end, especially if you're 3-man splitting your opponent's blue.
Yeah, it's really the troublesome spot is how often that we're going to see that share go down. Just less about farming efficiently and more about just protecting it from being stolen at that point.
And something we see different already between these 2 solo laners is their boots a selection already, going for his second blue. But Ninja Tabby for CycloneSpin, I like the attack speed because of the way the bludgeon and the whole kit of Bellona just works. They're really trying to get multiple procs off of her shield bash, her scourge, whatever the case is. A little bit of action in the solo lane, but fineokay is just going to be fine. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't even know why we saw the jump, but yeah, it's interesting. I like the Bellona attack speed boots simply because a lot of times when you're going the traditional tank Bellona build, you don't really have time to build attack speed when it's a character that does so well with Just a little bit. You don't want to overwhelm it. Just a little bit of attack speed. Bellona really does very well with it, but you're usually stuck building tank items.
And the thing about Osiris is you could build attack speed boots on him, but I would only recommend it if you were to go into the Frostbound Hammer just to get the continuous slow, which leads me to believe he's not going for that route.
Yeah, it's more about the chainsaw effect with that guy. Homiefe looking for the big bites and bringing CycloneSpin down to about 40% HP. Weekend going to be done the same. And Homiefe walks away, so a lot of yelling and screaming, but really all just for the elementals.
Just posturing, but no posturing on the right side. A
There's the
CycloneSpin.
ult, and that's going to be another kill. fineokay gets credit. It's all about Homiefe.
There's just no Eagles Rally available. It just came off of cooldown because of that aggression earlier on. They traded out ultimates, Eagles Rally, for that Lord of the Afterlife, and as a result, that timing window allowed Homiefe to make that rotation towards the solo lane.
Andy just barely going to get away from that stun on a Metyankey. An important dash away by Andy. He likely would have been worm food if it hadn't been for that.
Surprisingly, for Weekend, we see the Sunder Relic being picked up at level 1. Now, I say that, but even despite Robin having, the Mystic Rush, the overhead kick for those two defensive options, if he uses those to engage and be that sponge of damage, and he fails to get a kill with the Sunder, now he's just going to be a sitting duck without any sort of crowd control immunity, and instead of finding one root could spill the doom of Weekend.
This Robin Jungle Sunder first item is it was the first pick for basically the summer split, right? And then the past 2 weeks, we've seen a lot of move away from it, whether it be to the Najaz or the Homiefe bringing out the Camazotz. But the Robin players have walked in a different direction for the most part, and Weekend still just kind of hanging on to it.
And that's his style. He just loves to play aggressive. He wants to be not necessarily the glass cannon, but the utilitarian jungle for his team to set up, whether it's CycloneSpin, Oceans, even Metyankey every now and then.
And I mean, if you're going to be the type to really always want to jump in, Robin actually gives you a bonus for jumping in with that ultimate. That's what the whole character's about. So certainly goes hand in hand with Weekend's delivery and attention to the way he plays the game.
That's true. Even if whether or not you connect on an enemy god, you get that 40% damage reduction on that Mystic Rush. So Weekend is going to be quite a resilient target against a SpaceStation. And the question is SpaceStation just going to keep waiting for Team Allegiance to kind of look for an engagement, or are they going to start grouping up here?
Well, it looks like SpaceStation is going to group up at least a little bit on the right side. There's the ultimate on a Homiefe, and one more time he finds a kill. This time NeiruMah's going to pop the shield, and then he dies a second time, and Andy gets credit for it. The third kill for SpaceStation Gaming. And again, I'm still just looking at Homiefe making these plays. A ton of damage coming out from the bat. You can see him there, number 2. Well, it's net worth. But a ton of damage coming out from the bat. Very, very big presence this early on. There he is, number 2 on the player damage. I should have trusted myself. With number 1 being there's just a little bit of that fake damage.
The fake damage. And I'm surprised that we saw NeiruMah die there. I'm not sure if it was a lapse of judgment or just too much crowd control, but he didn't even get the shell off before he died or after the revive either way.
I like that he didn't use the shell. He's dead there with or without the shell, man. Like, he's surrounded.
Sure, you say that, but at the same time, then why even go for the shell? If you're going to be dying anyway, then you might as well go for a girdle. Allow your team to clean up after the fact with all the enemy cooldowns not available. Your team can easily capitalize if you give them that damage boost.
Yeah, it's fair. I just think that the shell is great for when your team's getting engaged on, when Homiefe and fineokay are kind of doing their damnedest to get to your back line. When one person is just getting smoked out, I mean, oh well.
It just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
CycloneSpin still getting the worst end of things, just now hitting level 10, whereas fineokay is sitting pretty, been level 10 for quite a bit. Looks like he's going to be going for what looks to be a mystical mail at the moment, whereas CycloneSpin hasn't back to get that tier 1 yet.
Likely going to go a very similar build. We'll see. NeiruMah caught out one more time, but he'll be able to dash away. Homiefe really quick on that screech, and that's really Camazotz is maybe not deceptively. I feel like he's deceptively complex. At his core, he seems very simple, right? Throw the bats, jump on him, throw the bats, right? That's it. But catching that Screech is a very, very, very big part of what Camazotz does, and I think that's why we see Homiefe be so much more successful on this character than a lot of other people. QO Fred has been able to replicate his success, but not many people have been able to be on the same level.
Absolutely. This Camazotz jungle has been working out very well for Homiefe, and it's also about the timing of how well you can coordinate your jump away for that immunity frames, using your ultimate to be able to either escape or to be able to dive those towers. Not to mention those, you have to be really good about using your wrist for flick shotting your first and second abilities.
Yeah, it's really very accuracy based here. Mid lane, Weekend might get collapsed on by Homiefe. There's the bats, and a couple of basics will be good, but that's about it. Easy trade out. There's a Screech still on cooldown.
Just relying on the sustain that he gets from that Screech, he can easily do this every single time. But now, SpaceStation looking to invade the red.
Oh, there's the bats. Red buff goes.
He went for Team Allegiance. They did not successfully steal that one away. Great play out of all of Allegiance, just respecting the rotation, but not wanting to force anything. They're just going to retreat, allow the purple buff to just go away. They weren't ready for that one.
Not quite. Not quite on their toes just yet here. Early on in this game, SpaceStation with an early lead. ALG last week or the week before really seemed like the past couple of weeks, ALG seemed to have been revitalized here. With really nothing to point at. Metyankey just seemed to take a big step up. Weekend's been carrying his brains out. Andy forced into the ultimate to avoid the stun. Quick thinking by the mid laner.
Also, just to get an extra bit of mobility, also prioritizing the shorter cooldown of I'm a Monster versus the longer duration of the Purification Beads. But without that offensive ultimate, this is going to allow Allegiance to secure the gold.
Yeah, it's a trade. Beads might be a longer cooldown, but it doesn't secure the Gold Fury for you. Vetium's here, and he's going to be able to help out. But with that Isis ultimate, no mage available, pop. Guaranteed to Allegiance.
But it's going to be NeiruMah sacrificing himself for the greater good. Chased down by SpaceStation is going to be weakened as he uses that Mystic Rush, trying to get away. But Lord of the Afterlife not on the mark against Weekend, unfortunately, for SpaceStation.
You know what I say with that situation? I look at the support going for it, and it's just, you know, you're going to trade your support out for the Gold Fury. If he dies, he dies. Do not care.
Well, somebody got broken there. As the tier 1 demolishes, Portal Demon's going to fall shortly after. Andinster rotating towards the right to get farm. SpaceStation is just so good about min-maxing all their farm. They recognized that they couldn't contest Gold Fury without the I'm a Monster. Securing these two little objectives, sure, Gold Fury went the way of a Team Allegiance, but SpaceStation is still on top.
Yeah, not only did they go ahead and, you know, Andy got his little farm there, but the tier 1 tower in the mid lane goes the other direction, so SpaceStation able to capitalize there and still maintain 1,000 gold lead, despite the fact that ALG took the Gold Fury and tied the game for a hot 20 seconds.
But it's also all about the experience, because the Gold Fury doesn't really change the experience graph on the left-hand side of your screen. It's all SpaceStation dictating the pacing. These 4 deaths allowed SpaceStation a lot of a timing window to be able to capitalize.
Look at the way that SpaceStation are playing. They're so oppressive, the way that they're collapsing on Team Allegiance. They're forcing Team Allegiance to play and walk a certain way. Team Allegiance can't play the game that they want to, because SpaceStation Gaming is corralling them into this area that they shouldn't be in. ALG know they shouldn't be there, so they leave. But if they leave for too long, SpaceStation is just going to be able to clear the whole right side. And
it's just because Homiefe is there just one step quicker before Weekend. Weekend just can't do much about it with this level 11 Ravana. Having the Shifter Shield available to him will make him slightly more tanky once he does hit under that 50% health threshold. But at the same time, this level 13 Camazotz with Brawler's Beat Stick is going to be a nightmare.
Misses the Screech.
Misses both abilities, actually. It's fineokay tanking the tower for a little bit longer, but a level 14 Bellona with Mystical Mail finished and the Mark of the Vanguard, not the easiest god to kill.
Going for the second one. Bats miss. Screech miss.
It's just all about delaying the back, honestly, out of CycloneSpin. If they can delay his back long enough, they get this tier 1 tower on right, but now he's backed off, he has teleport, and not only that, he has Aegis to survive against Andinster's I'm a Monster.
A lot of tools here to stay safe in general. Metyankey level 12 now. Will have access to a second relic. We'll see which direction he goes in. Likely beads. I mean, he's a mid-mage. beads. They just really no wiggle room there. And healed by a Sunder.
I highly doubt we're going to see a Sunder out of that, but I would like to see some more utility out of Team Allegiance in general. They have the
Like
shell, a team fighting utility.
Like Sunder.
I want to see a Girdle. I want to see Girdle out of NeiruMah potentially. We could also even see Sprint out of either of these two teams. Realistically, there's so many slows on both sides.
Yeah, Sprint is Sprint is
there we go.
Tough.
Jigz went for the Sprint.
Yeah, we'll see the Sprint come out on his side. I like this. I like it better on his side because fineokay is just all right. You sprint and you get away from the slow, and then he just reapplies the slow.
That's true. It's going to be very difficult to stop it.
It's just not that big of a deal. On the other side versus Team Allegiance, they don't have. You've got Ravana, right? But one sprint can sort of get you away from there. fineokay has the long range with the sickle, medium range, right? As opposed to the melee range of Weaken's hands.
Yeah, and it's a slightly longer cooldown for Weaken, about 9 seconds on the Ravana, about 3 or 4 seconds on the sickle for the Osiris on fineokay. And so far, he's been doing a relatively good job here, sitting at level 14, despite being 1 level behind CycloneSpin. He's been able to bully him out of lane consistently.
So, I mean, with Relics being our conversation topic right now, we'll keep an eye on Weaken. As he's looking towards fineokay, who is the one who bought the Thorns. Now, Thorns seems like such a gimmick item to me. And like, you're going to watch the opponent kill them, but a smart player sees it and stops attack. What does the Thorns really bring for the Osiris?
It's just a timing window to get off of you. You don't want to be doing damage to him if you're a late game Rom that's trying to get the Osiris off of you, right? So you're able to out DPS him once you have those penetration items. Once you maybe go for crit, we'll see what Ocean selects to do. But that Thorns means without lifesteal on Oceans, he can't survive through tanking damage from fineokay and doing damage to himself via the Thorns.
Just another prevention method here. One of the things that I like about it is, especially in a character like Osiris, he's the guy that's just going to walk at you.
Yeah.
And a lot of, while he's doing his Terminator impression, just kind of running at you, holding W, as Taco likes to say, right? You're going to attack him. You're going to try to crowd control him. He pops Thorns less. Hades pops Thorns because everybody's going to jump on him and focus him. Osiris pops Thorns as another mechanism to get you to back up because you can't walk into him with Thorns up. You have to back up. It's just another tool for spacing, for zoning. It allows Osiris to be Osiris more so, which is kind of a scary sight.
Allows him to be more of a broken god than he already is, fitting the lore quite well. Being one of the best zoners, honestly, in all of Smite, but so far, so good here for SpaceStation, getting a relatively comfortable lead at 1,500 gold, but still getting the better end of the experience, and most of this experience has been from Homiefe just out-farming Weaken.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just a very interesting look here in SpaceStation Gaming. They're ahead 1,300. I would say SpaceStation Gaming expected to be ahead, perhaps expected to be ahead a little bit more. ALG doing a very, very good job here of just sort of staying afloat.
Despite not having any kills, yeah, they're just still doing a great job with that gold fury that they got earlier on. They did lose those 2 objectives, but at the end of the day, you have to still be able to get something here. As Vetium pulls the gold fury, he's going to reset to less than half health as Jigz. It's already very low, and CycloneSpin teleporting on the backhand side.
You can see looking for the player on the left-hand side, Weaken able to get away from Vetium pretty easily. Not even trying too hard. Right side rotations are in. Teleport down for Bellona, and she took the quick way here. Osiris took the long way, so he'll have the teleport advantage at the end of this sequence.
Oceans took a bit of damage there from that one crush and the flail coming out of fineokay, but he has the Bummer's Mask, so he's going to be able to sustain off of those back harpies despite not having any lifesteal. That regen right there is putting him already almost back to full.
So right now, SpaceStation Gaming, it's almost about 20 minutes. Really, what's their next move? Where do they find their next power play? Because they have 4 kills, and they've shut allegiance out as far as that's concerned, but ALG obviously able to fight into this one by way of objectives. Does Space Station look to prevent another objective from Allegiance? Do they look for an objective on their own, or do they just look to fight?
I think they're just going to look for Allegiance to start an objective and look to contest it with the Alma Monster. There's no reason for a 5v5 situation for Space Station to just try to go for an objective when there's also a circle of protection on the line for Metyankey. That's a very easy ability to contest against Alma Monster. Both of them do so much damage, especially once that circle is fully charged up.
And I mean, you can kind of look at your opponent and say, ha, thank you for helping me. It charges up, right?
Pretty much.
Kind of helps out. Teamwork on the other team.
Makes the dream work.
There you go. There you go, Totally. There you go.
If he dies, he dies.
Hey, that was a good one. That was a good one. That's from Semi-Pro from Will Ferrell. fineokay getting the tower there, Tier 1 tower on the right-hand side. Space Station Gaming with the second tower of the game. I forgot that they got that tower early on, right after the Gold Fury. It's a very systematic tower. Just, yup, you got gold. We got Tier 1. See you later.
All these players from Space Station have just been around the block, so they know these objective timing windows that they can get away with. As soon as andinster went into Alma Monster in mid to avoid the spare ball from Metyankey, everyone from Space Station knew, like, okay, they're going to do Gold Fury, but we have this timing window to get at least 2 out of it, 2 objectives.
Well, now it's Space Station Gaming starting the Gold Fury. 10%. It's going to be a full commit. This time it gets stolen. ALG snatch it away. Wigan, the thief himself. Space Station cannot control their own objective, much less the enemy's. And so ALG tie the game with a hot steal.
Very fortunate for ALG to be able to snag that one away. But granted, andinster didn't use Alma Monster to secure the Gold Fury. I'm not sure if he was expecting a team fight after the fact, but with this ultimate still available and without Ocean's or Weaken's ultimate, this is a little advantage for Space Station.
Well, here's the secondary shot. Portal Demon going to be leashed out. CycloneSpin jumping on the back line, fighting both Homie and the mid lane. He would have pushed them out on the right side. Andy now pushed so far out, he's a flanker.
I'm not sure if he got spotted out either way.
He didn't. He has Alma Monster.
He's going to wait very patiently. fineokay taking a lot of damage. andinster is going to miss on the root, but connects on the crush to NeiruMah on the backside. fineokay is forced to retreat. Fire Giant gets leashed for a little bit, forced to reset there, and Portal Demon still being flirted with.
Such an interesting effect that Khepri has on the game. Andy, I think, after he lands that crush, goes into the ultimate looking for Khepri. If it's literally any other character, but he knows NeiruMah is going to ult himself, and that trade out is probably not what Andy's looking for.
And I think he was also looking for the route onto Oceans there. Portal Demon being started, but it's Weekend shopping
again!
Stealing it again! What the hell?
He's just on a tear. Weekend absolutely crushing it. ALG grouping up for the heal out of Metyankey. And there's going to be NeiruMah tossing his ultimate onto his jungler. Wicked gets saved across the map. Poor timing at a Space Station on the Gold Fury. Poor timing at a Space Station on the Portal Demon. And poor timing at a Space Station on the Khepri ultimate. That's going to be 3 small wins for Team Allegiance. And they again keep the game tied and competitive.
That's 2 times already that andinster did not use his ultimate to secure an objective. And something's got to give eventually. You can't hold on to a level 17 Scylla ultimate at 23 minutes into the game. This is so crucial for that to be used.
That's also, listen, I understand as ALG pick up the Tier 1 tower on the right side, netting them another 500 gold. I understand that Alma Monster is a fantastic team fight ability. In fact, Totally, I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but in one team fight, Scylla can win a game. I don't know if you've ever heard that before.
I don't think so. It might be a little deja vu, but it doesn't ring a bell.
But listen, it's been years since Hand of the Gods, Hog, Wrath has been a thing. That's the mage's job now. That is your job as the mage to secure that objective. And I understand it kind of, yeah, man, it sucks. You won't be able to go for the Alma Monster pentakill. But your job is to confirm the objective. I can understand holding it for the Portal Demon, but not the Gold Fury. And if we see him hold it on the Fire Giant and Weaken steals it with like a Prana Onslaught, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
The Mystic Rush and Prada Onslaught is just a lot of damage as well. The base damage is really high there, and this allows a lot of Ravens to go into this tanky option. But maybe andinster is having flashbacks of when he used to be on the same team with MLC Stealth during Worlds 1 against Titan, when Stealth hit that incredible triple root crush combo on a monster, and that's what he's constantly thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, like you gotta do the boring part too, man. I mean, like that's every aspect of life. You can't always. Nah, you totally can always play for the Jiffy Cat, but you got to do the things around it as well.
I would agree with you, and this is why SpaceStation, they had a lead before. Now they're down about 1,200 gold, but 1,200 at 25-minute mark, it's insignificant.
It's more of a just a notation tool, essentially, saying that 1,200 gold, Team Allegiance is up. Realistically, it's not going to impact the team fight much, but it is something to talk about because Allegiance have been behind for the majority of this game. Look at it. They have 0 kills. Allegiance are tying the game and staying competitive strictly with attention to objectives.
But these 4 kills from SpaceStation didn't get any objectives on their end either. Like we were talking about before, like, does SpaceStation go for the objective themselves? Do they try to counteract it? Well, a lot of teams will purposely hold off from doing objectives because the success rate of potential steals has been just so high recently in the SPL history.
And, you know, when it comes down to steals, it's almost always the attacking team's fault that they didn't zone. It's almost always the problem of lack of zone. Very rarely is it, oh my goodness, the crazy play, which, to Weekend's credit, I actually think Weekend got in there on the Gold Fury very, very impressively. Same on the Portal Demon as well. But in general, steals are about a lack of zoning than they are a highlight play.
But to be able to even start the Gold Fury in a 5v5 without anyone backing from the opposition is such a risky call. And for you to zone, that means you're not doing damage to the Gold Fury, so it's kind of a win-lose situation. Sure, you could be zoning, trying to stop them from stealing, but also you're not dealing damage to burn it quicker.
SpaceStation spread out. Team Allegiance all stuck in this one little hallway. Weekend chasing on fineokay, giving Osiris a taste of his own medicine. Jigz gonna turn the corner and get on top of NeiruMah. CycloneSpin. NeiruMah loses his HP, just barely gets out of the ultimate before he's able to ult himself, saving himself and give himself one more shot. Jigz transforms into the dragon. I almost called him the monkey.
It should be a Gold Fury attempt here out of SpaceStation without the ultimate from NeiruMah or CycloneSpin. They still have on a monster, and they have this AoE coerce from Jigz.
Oceans has the ultimate, not going for the steal because fineokay is up in his face. Great job by fineokay, and that is how you secure the objective. You send your tanky characters, you push the opposition out of there. No way, Mystic Rush can't jump that far. The Legions cannot steal that Gold Fury, and SpaceStation find themselves once again in the lead.
And this time, andinster, for good reason, didn't use that ultimate. The vision control from SpaceStation was all around the Gold Fury to know where every member from Allegiance was. Nobody was in range of stealing it, holding on to this ultimate now for the Jiffy Cat.
Yeah, just no threat there.
And honestly, the way that SpaceStation have been playing it has been so impressive at that last team fight. Vetium getting coerced by Jigz on the Fafnir, just absolutely melting NeiruMah.
Yeah, it's very scary, and that's why I love any Chin Sai with Fafnir, because Chin Sai, they obviously scale with attack speed, and with Fafnir, ooh, it just becomes so scary.
And then with a kit from Cernunnos, you're able to get the physical power in the summer stance, penetration in the fall. It just depends on what you really want to go for. And against the itemization here out of NeiruMah, he doesn't have too much physical defense, only having sovereignty, but he has a good amount of health.
Cute plays. Jigz gets dragged out by NeiruMah, but that's support on support action. So no big deal. Jigz able to walk away and not really care. Not even gonna really mind.
Not too many problems here on the side of SpaceStation. They're still trying to find the right angle and opportunity around this portal demon, still contesting it around the 30-minute mark. It's a little dance.
Still just 4-0. SpaceStation early on had some of the kills, and Allegiance, well, more objective-minded. 2 gold series, one of which was stolen. A couple of other objectives as well. No fire giants just yet. He's been awake for about 20 minutes and still nobody really choosing to go for that one. Just a little bit too close of a game, I'd say. Gold's difference very low.
No one cares about the fire daddy, man. Feels bad, man. It's Father's Day, and just no love for the father.
I mean, it's tough. Right now, SpaceStation Gaming, making sure that he can take care of the little guy. And that's going to give them the portal, all in from Team Allegiance. They're looking to fineokay, who could fall here. Jumping away, strong move. Brought the follow-up from Weekend, and the shots from the sky, all three hit. Weekend gets the last basic, and he turned it around on the ultimate, using it defensively. SpaceStation Gaming get pushed out really hard.
Andinster has had to use his ultimate the second time this game, and both times that I've seen him use it was defensively. Just not able to connect the shots that he needs to, and as a result now with the Legions being able to press the onslaught, they're able to just get off these kills on fineokay. Now 5-on-4 for 30 seconds. They're able to get this tier 1 mid, and if they really want to, they could start getting some more tier 2 towers.
Yeah, I'd like to see Team Allegiance right now even everything. This is the play I want to see. Yeah, this is the play I want to see. This is the play I want to see.
What a risky call, but
SpaceStation has the
they
portal.
have Circle of Protection.
They have the portal still.
But they're not taking it.
It's gone. Half HP on the fire giant.
Oh.
The ultimate comes down. Everybody there. NeiruMah, CycloneSpin trying to zone. There's the jump in for Bellona. Pop goes the Weasel, and the fire giant goes to Team Allegiance.
But they're chasing down. SpaceStation needs to find a little bit of redemption. Stunning Metyankey, forcing the beads, forcing the ultimate out of NeiruMah. Popping the bubble is Homiefe as he dives the tier 2 tower.
2 players low. Metyankey forced into the Aegis. Nice turnaround stun. Jigz going to be there. Missed pluck from NeiruMah. And the chase at a Homiefe not fruitful. Oceans punishes the diving jungler. Jigz gonna taste the fury of CycloneSpin and Weekend as well. fineokay, he might not be his namesake.
Oh, the Groot and the Crush forces Weekend on out. Oceans having to go into the Aegis. CycloneSpin is buying time for Oceans to hit the snipes. He connects onto 1, but too much of a hesitation. He didn't go for 2 or 3.
I didn't mind the hesitation there. He was waiting for the visual. I actually really liked the patience. The problem was they got out of range.
Yeah.
If those players were still in range, he probably could have fired off the 2 and 3 in rapid succession, waiting for the visual instead of going for the, ooh, I'm going to daredevil blind guy shot this. I enjoyed it. But again, they got enough range, unfortunately. But fortunately for Team Allegiance and their fans, clinging on here, taking the fire giant. They have 1,000 gold lead as well. Just nice sequence there from Team Allegiance, just making the risky call. I liked that.
They have 2 factors to be able to secure that. They have the late game objective melter of Oceans playing this level 20 ROM, and then they have the secure of the Circle of Protection ultimate out of Metyankey with all of this damage and penetration from him. There's just no way that you can give Allegiance about 5 to 10 seconds on any objective.
Yeah, look at that. The fire giant puts them up another 3,000 gold. This is a real lead now. This game has been neck and neck. It's been tough. I had a funny joke, but I decided to go away from it. I'll decide one day to bring it back. We'll see.
Well, got him to bring it back here at SpaceStation as they have to defend against the Fire Giant squad out of a Team Allegiance for almost 2 more minutes. Not able to get any towers quite yet, but with this Gold Fury, they're slowly going to start building a lead as they start making a move towards the left-hand side.
That's exactly where we'll see them. 3 players grouped up, mid lane, Hunter, and support. Jungle back at base, and CycloneSpin pushing up on the right side. Obviously, he has a teleport. He can be wherever the hell he wants, honestly, at this point in the game. Whenever something pops off, he'll be able to go and teleport over there and deal with whatever's happening. Level 20, though, doesn't exactly need the farm. Just trying to get the waves pushed up as much as possible.
It could also be a timing window for Allegiance where they might not necessarily want to be aggressive against SpaceStation, really fearful of Andinster, but they're still working on some of their crucial 6-slotted items.
Something small I want to point out. You guys know I love to point out the small things from time to time. Level 2 Titan's Bane here. Now it offers 22% protection shred, and it also works on objectives. We saw the tier 2 Titan's Bane be picked up, and then Fatalis finished. He didn't. Oceans didn't actually finish the Titan's Bane before he finished the Fatalis, understanding that he just needed a little extra damage on the objectives, looking for the Fire Giant Rush and of course everything else. And the 22% was good enough, because he has the Executioner for the players. He's only buying the Titan's Bane for the objectives and for the towers. And so the 22% was good enough at the point, and he decided to go into the Fatalis. I like that itemization choice.
Right-hand side, though, with a Fire Giant for another 20 seconds. They're trying to go for another tier 2 tower, but everyone from SpaceStation is in position to defend this, but here comes a wave for Allegiance.
This is going to be a nice fight. Jumping in for 2 is CycloneSpin, getting the stun on fineokay and Andy, lining up Oceans for 2 out of the 3, forcing Andy out of the fight. The tier 2 tower crumbles, tossing 1,500 into the pockets of ALG. And they'll slowly retreat away from SpaceStation. No threat, really, the red team had there. And ALG going for the Portal Demon. Totally, I think if you ask a lot of players, a lot of people, a lot of fans, SpaceStation might come up as the top North American team. And ALG are not only contending, a lot of times when we see these teams that split or get, it's almost like luck. This is just good quality play.
Absolutely. Everyone from Team Allegiance has been around the block, except for NeiruMah, who's relatively new here to the SPL. But either way, he's been making a statement since he's joined this team, being that new support for Allegiance, just fitting in beautifully, being led by Weekend.
Yeah, NeiruMah is, and to NeiruMah's credit, he's also sort of been around the block, just not at this SPL level. He's always been sort of the 6th man looking in. Jigz, the only man looking out as he gets caught out. NeiruMah has to dash away.
So many roots and just slows coming out of SpaceStation. The root from andinster, the root from Vetium could also keep NeiruMah in place. And if he doesn't use that abduct defensively earlier, then he's going to take even more damage.
Oh, there is a big crush, and Metyankey forced into the Aegis because of it. There's the blink forward from Homie as he's looking for the Isis. Trouble as she pops down both her ultimate and NeiruMah's. That's going to heal her up, and all of a sudden, Team Allegiance is not on the front foot. SpaceStation Gaming with a fantastic initiation. Vetium on the right side, taking out Oceans before he can hit the air. Weekend shoving Homiefe into the ground. Rama and Victa, not enough to kill fineokay, but Weekend right here, just getting controlled. Can he find the kill? Absolutely not.
Oh, he tried so hard with every last dying breath, but Homiefe did take a spill at the end of that one. 2 for 1 for SpaceStation, all due to the fact that andinster forces out the early Aegis out of Metyankey, and that just said go for SpaceStation. Homiefe dove the backline, forcing out the circle of protection, forcing out the Scarab's blessing, and everyone from SpaceStation was doing a good job of going on Oceans, while fineokay was just zoning out 3.
Yeah, that's the key for me, is that as the Fire Giant goes the way of SpaceStation, that's the key for me here, honestly, is the fact that SpaceStation Gaming wins that team fight because of the way they initiate. You're expecting CycloneSpin to come on over the top. You're expecting Metyankey to drop down the ultimate, right? That's how Allegiance engages. You look at SpaceStation, you're expecting fineokay or Jigz to jump in. Instead, Homiefe just blinks on Metyankey and says, everybody better respond. And because it's such an unorthodox initiation, SpaceStation just has the element of surprise and kind of doesn't matter that Allegiance is in the lead. They just surprised everybody.
And there's just so much mobility here on SpaceStation. Not only is there a blink for Homiefe, he has the shield of regrowth, he has the Heartseeker, and then there's a sprint on Jigz to be able to chase down Metyankey. But to counteract that, NeiruMah picking up his own sprint, really trying to get away.
I like the Polynomicon. The return of Polynomicon. It's one of my favorite items in Smite, and doesn't always see use. It doesn't always have a use, honestly. It's hard to fit into a lot of builds. Nobody really cares about lifesteal.
It's all about locking down NeiruMah, honestly, because that one root cripple combination with a crush on NeiruMah, you put a Polynomicon in hand after that, that Khepri is going down.
andinster is a very aggressive player. Notoriously using his Agni dashes offensively, more so than any other Agni I've ever seen play since I started watching the game in 2013. Right?
You haven't played with Lassus then.
I think he it's more aggressive on the Agni than the Lasses. But my point is, the Polynomicon is going to allow the Scylla dash to also be an attack as well. That Polynomicon going to swing for 500 or 600 damage on the basic after the fact. Andy dashes in, Polynomicon, root, crush, see you later. It's going to be a really scary combo coming out of the Scylla.
Really scary for Team Allegiance trying to defend against the Fire Giant out of SpaceStation this time around. No Phoenixes taken by either team quite yet. SpaceStation or Team Allegiance wasn't able to do so with their Fire Giant, but SpaceStation are now in position to get the first one of the game.
CycloneSpin out there in front, trying to prevent the players from getting the basics in. There's the jump out from fineokay, the follow-up jump from Weekend. SpaceStation pushed off the left Phoenix for now.
Really aggressive play here out of Weekend to be able to dive just because fineokay uses that Lord of the Afterlife. It seemed like he really wanted to press on a little bit further, but now a couple of seconds with that Stone of Gaia and Fire Giant regen, fineokay is already at 75% health.
I think you have to be that aggressive when you're trying to make these Phoenix defenses and the odd tier 2 defenses when they actually happen. You generally see the more successful defenses from the players and the teams that actually initiate before the opposition, that forces the enemy to make a decision, because if you're able to just play your game, you're on rails and you're just going to follow step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas when the opponent does something that tosses you off your game, now you have to react, and there's a chance that you do so poorly.
But now without Mystic Rush for Weekend, he's not going to have that damage reduction. Nice juke from all of SpaceStation, avoiding that Spirit Ball from Metyankey, but Jigz taking a lot of damage. CycloneSpin taking a decent amount from andinster as well, though.
So that's 2 waves that SpaceStation Gaming have not been. That's basically what happens. Every time the wave comes, you get another shot at the Phoenix. That's 2 waves, and SpaceStation have not been able to penetrate this. P.S. They have the Fire Giant.
For 20 more seconds only, this is going to be their last attempt with this additional wave. This is do or die.
There's been a fantastic defensive set coming out from ALG. Here's the full commit from SpaceStation. Going all the way to the back line is Homiefe looking for that player. It's going to be Oceans popping up into the sky. Still, Phoenix alive, about 25%, getting very low. Players looking more for the team fight, but Weekend gets the kill on Homiefe, and he could be next. And again, defensive set out of ALG, successful.
Trying to run away with Camazotz, but it gets turned on by Weekend. He executed completely. Ocean's now between a rock and a hard place, and that's Andy. A double for Andy.
And that's a fantastic kill thanks to the Polynomicon. Andy gets the triple kill. Oh my goodness. This was a defensive set out of ALG where they could not allow anybody into the Phoenix after 3 successful tries. And then that one looked like, I mean, hell, SpaceStation might have even thought about going for the win there, totally, but deciding to play it safe, and I like that decision. Good to look for the mid-Phoenix.
I mean, andinster took 810 damage from the Spirit Ball from Metyankey. That's nothing to scoff at. He's at the red health marker. Triple kill for the mid-Scylla. What a play.
Polynomicon. You know what the biggest key there, actually, for the I'm a Monster, which is actually funny because you brought this up in conversation earlier. So Scylla gets a bonus for maxing out her abilities, extra power, etc. I'm a Monster gets a movement speed boost. It goes from 30%.
35 to 70% at max rank, and that is very easy to be able to retreat from the action, and then he quickly turns around, he sees Weekend stuck, boom, executed, and then Oceans tried to overcommit as well, trying to kill andinster, just was not successful in doing so, and that's going to be the first Phoenix on the left-hand side taken out.
Yeah, very, sometimes it's those small, almost overlooked aspects of the kit that actually wind up making things happen, and it's the movement speed that allowed Andy to get the first kill, and again, the reason we see Oceans hard commit to Andy is because he used everything. Everything's down. Polynomicon, LOL. See you later, buddy. Itemization reigns supreme. SpaceStation Gaming picking up a free Fire Giant.
Their second one of the game. They're now going to start grouping up here. All they have to really do is wait for some fire minions to start trickling down that left-hand side before they go for this remaining Phoenixes. I don't expect Allegiance to really even try to defend this tier 2 on the right. It's really not worth it to be that far out of your base this late in the game.
When you really got to just weigh the options and the benefit, right? 1,500 gold means nothing.
Look at that attack speed. That coerce is insane. With Shogun's Kusari.
Shogun's Kusari, the coerce, obviously built in the Odibo, as you hear that.
Oh my goodness.
The entire time.
Wow. Wowie woo.
You get me every time with that, man.
Right-hand side, Space Station, they're making their second Phoenix Siege attempt. A little bit of poke damage onto both sides, but relying on a lot of this Fire Giant sustain already. Phoenix at about half.
Good defense out of ALG. This team really knows how to defend the Phoenix, I tell you.
They like to be able to engage a little bit outside the Phoenix, but this late in the game, you catch one root onto CycloneSpin. If andinster follows up from Vetium's root initially, CycloneSpin, despite all his defenses, will be at about 50% health. That one crush did about 20% of his health.
You want to know another big reason? The Polynomicon does damage to the towers, correct?
Yes, if you use an ability and then you use your in-hand on the Phoenix, that Polynomicon will still apply to whether it's a tower, objective, or a Phoenix.
That's why we saw that Phoenix just melt. Big damage out of Andy onto the objective. Big swing from CycloneSpin. He's actually in trouble here. Homiefe gonna go chase him. Mid-Phoenix, the only one alive here. And it's gonna fall down to the ashes as well. 5-on-5. Space Station not backing off totally. They're going to put the pedal to the metal, look for the aggressive play.
Titan's already at 50% health. andinster does not have Ama Monster, but Jigz is in that draconic form. He's going to pop that AoE Coerce, and with attack speed boost and the Shoguns, could be an easy Titan kill for Space Station.
Yeah, 60% on the objective here.
They're leashing it, though. Every time you leash this Titan, it will regain health, so Space Station can't allow this to happen too many times.
Yeah, a little problematic here. Again, Allegiance has done such a good job defending the Phoenixes. It should be expected them to do the same here. Andy walks over and just destroys the left Phoenix easily.
Respawning back into the Oblivion now is Jigz leading the charge. Everyone from Allegiance trying to hold on with their last breath.
Looking for the window. So gets done in this game. Oceans uses the Aegis. There's a dive. Everybody all in on the Titan. It's one focused party. And Space Station Gaming, first game under their new name, winds up a victory. Congratulations to them.
45-minute game and 9-4 was the scorecard.
Yeah, just a very low, can't find my words, very
Methodical.
low kill count game.
Very methodical. A lot of objective mindsets here between both of these two teams, and a lot of the action here was revolved around andinster, whether for good or bad. Allegiance forcing out that ultimate very early in the game, which is resulting them in that first goal here, but then the rest of Space Station, they didn't care. They started trickling down mid, getting that tier 1 tower and the portal demon to respond.
Yeah, look, that was that play that we saw, the turnaround, making use of that extra movement speed with the smaller kids, and then right here, just get blown up with the basic. I love the Polynomicon, man.
Crush, the hit.
Basic.
Boom.
I love the Polynomicon. It's so much fun to watch.
So close to hitting that root. Actually, if he hits that root there, he kills Metyankey. He doesn't get hit by the Spirit Ball, which got him to the red health marker, and they probably win the game.
Exactly. Unfortunately for them, it takes an extra 2 minutes. Oh no. Space Station Gaming find the win above ALG, but it wasn't easy. I think we might even see a split here if ALG can sort of channel that same energy they found in game 1.
It's very possible. I'm expecting a Scylla ban, honestly. The way andinster loves this god recently, they banned away, what was it, the Agni and the Hades, leaving the Ra and the Scylla open for andinster. So I wouldn't be surprised if Allegiance changed their picks and ban strategy a little bit.
Hades alters the way that you play completely. Sure. Agni and Scylla, they're just kind of heavy hitters. So we'll see.